guys, this is gonna be a quick review of Miele Hoover. It's actually C3 Parquet model. If you want to know if it's worth buying, please stick around for another few minutes. Of course, don't forget to like, share and subscribe this video. And to make sure you will not miss my next videos, click also on this notification button below. So guys, up till recently, we had this Vax Dynamo vacuum cleaner. We had it for a while, but we were not too happy with it for a few reasons. And last month we decided to get rid of it and get new Hoover. What we didn't like about it? Well, first of all, it was bagless Hoover, so we didn't have to buy any Hoover bags for it. We thought it was great. We were sure we are going to save millions on Hoover bags, but bagless vacuum cleaners means, unfortunately, that you need to actually clean it all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but for sure pretty often. And it's messy job. It's messy job. Starting from emptying the container with collected dust and dirt, and finishing with complete cleaning of the Hoover itself, like filters, etc. And every time you do it, you end up being covered in some dodgy dust and dirt. Dirt that you should never touch, dirt that you want to stay away from, gets partially directly on you. Literally, you are covered in dust and dirt. Like, isn't the whole point of hoovering to stay away from dirt and dust? It just didn't make sense for me at all. And never experienced that with hoovers with bags before. Well, unless it was reusable bag, so then maybe a little bit. They have designed a horrible system of opening the container in that Hoover that we got rid of. It was really hard to open, and when you eventually opened it, part of dirt and dust was landing on your hands, often on other parts of your body, on floor, on Hoover itself, if it was nearby, and obviously usually it was. And obviously loads of dust was firing in the air in the same time, so God knows what stuff was getting into my lungs in those moments. Definitely is not the point of hoovering to breathe in rubbish from your floor. The design was honestly really bad. Obviously Hoover looked modern and fancy, but in terms of performance it was far from good. I literally hated it. Especially the opening container system. And as I said, once in a while you had to clean the Hoover inside, which was a nasty job too. On the other hand, that is what you need to do probably with most Hoovers, so let's ignore that part. This Hoover had also many other minor flaws, which I will mention later in this review, but the major problem was in emptying that container. Really horrible experience. So when we got rid of that Vax Dynamo, we obviously did start to search for new vacuum cleaner. What I have found out that there was apparently a massive hype for those stick cable-less Hoovers. I think the most popular one is Dyson. You can find link below to it if you wish to buy Dyson cable-less Hoover. Of course, I have watched loads of online reviews and I have decided not to buy one. The main reason was simply the price, or should I say the so-so value you are getting for that crazy price. Because those cable-less Hoovers, they cost like 500–700 euro. And from what I've seen, looks like they can't compete with regular Hoovers, even cheapest ones, in terms of performance. For example, they don't have much suction power. They have tiny containers for dirt and dust, and their batteries don't last long. They are handy for quick hoovering, but truth is, you still need regular Hoover when you have one of those cable-less Hoovers like Dyson. That's anyway what all reviewers basically were saying, and that should give you an idea how those expensive fancy vacuum cleaners perform. Obviously poorly. So we, or I should say my 11-year-old daughter decided to buy regular cheap Hoover. Well, relatively cheap. My dear wife wanted that fancy, expensive Hoover really bad. Obviously, I wanted to buy it to make her happy, but luckily our daughter has more reason than both of us, and when she heard the price and saw in the shop how poorly the fancy, expensive Hoover is performing, she forced me to get regular, cheap Hoover instead. Of course, if you can afford to buy that fancy, expensive Hoover, feel free to do it. Below you can find a link to the Hoover I was about to buy. It's called MIELE HX1 Pro. I think the main difference between this one and Dyson was the fact that Miele has two replaceable batteries, and in Dyson you can't change the battery. It took me a while before I have picked that cheap Hoover too. Again, I have watched loads of reviews. Basically from the beginning I chose Miele brand, mostly because that brand seemed to have to be really strong among those cable-less Hoovers. Before I didn't know that brand at all. Apparently it's a German company. For many of you surely it will mean quality. After watching many reviews and my horrible experience with bagless Hoover, I've decided also that I want to buy a Hoover that uses bags. I think it's better to pay those few extra bobs for Hoover bags than to be covered in dirt and dust, soaking with germs. Obviously, I knew it will not be as portable because it's on cable, but in the same time I was aware that I'm saving around 400–600 euro, and I will get much better suction power and much bigger rubbish container, and also I will not be relying on some weak battery. Besides, the model that I have actually picked was on special, and Miele was also giving 120 days option to test it, and if we will not like it, we can bring it back and get full refund. 120 days. That's the level of confidence that they have in this product. And they don't give you those 120 days on all other products they sell. Also, apparently, I imagine there's not too many weirdos bringing back Hoovers after 120 days. By the way, it was very confusing, really very confusing when I was doing research and I was trying to pick the right model of the Hoover for us. For some mad reason, those models have different names in various countries, plus there's loads of them, so honestly it's very confusing. Anyway, in the end I've managed to pick the model called MIELE C3 PARQUET. I believe in other countries it has other names, so be extra careful when buying it. If it's blue, it doesn't mean it's a Parquet model, unfortunately. It has name Parquet, I imagine, because it has extra brush included, dedicated to hard floors like wooden floors or tiles. There are cheaper versions of that C3 Miele Hoover available. I think they are kind of the same, and the main difference is in those brush heads you're getting with them. One of the top models of C3 I think is called Total Solution. Fortunately, it was not really available these days in the country where I live. Well, I found one display model, but even the Total Solution display model is double the price of the Parquet model. As I mentioned, I was getting basically those 120 days to test that Parquet model, so I've decided to start with that cheaper option, and then if I will not like it, I would switch to more expensive models. I will actually show you the box here, only because there's so many models of that C3 and so many different names for it. So as I said, this model could have different names in different countries. And also don't mind the color of the Hoover too, because for some bizarre reason Miele mixed those colors as well. Another thing is apparently there are different shades of same colors, so just when you decided to buy what you think is blue model, it appears that there's blue and navy to choose from, and you start checking it again because you saw actually blue color before, and you are actually confused. It's just mad from buyer's perspective. I even noticed that on website of one of the online shops, at least once, on their website they were showing picture and description of most expensive model, but the price was for more basic model, and I'm pretty sure it was not a special deal. They simply got mixed up. I have no doubt that if you would buy this product, you would receive the cheapest model, not the one that was on photos. Miele did a horrible job there in terms of distinguishing models. So that was the box that this Hoover came in. Showing this because, as I said, it might help some of you when buying this machine. And that's the Hoover itself. That's what you're getting if you will buy this. So let's begin our quick presentation here. So Hoover itself is on those 3 little wheels. It's really extremely easy to move it around on those wheels it has. My previous Hoover was not that easy to maneuver, actually quite opposite. I'll be comparing this new Hoover to the one I had before all the time in this video to underline all the differences I've noticed. All reviewers were actually saying it's easy to move around, but until I have tried this, I didn't really understand what it means. It really moves and turns very smoothly. My previous Hoover was keep falling on side all the time when I was pulling it. Nothing like that will happen with this Hoover. You can also put this C3 Hoover in vertical position, as you can see, without any problem, just like that. Can't remember any reviewer talking about it, so I was a bit worrying when buying it. I thought it might be hard to use this Hoover on stairs, that it might be too wide, but when you put it in vertical position, it actually fits perfectly on stairs. It's not wobbly at all, and because of that there's zero hassle when hoovering stairs. And with previous Hoover I was worrying all the time that if I will make a wrong move it might fall. It's just a little thing, but it was in my head before buying this Hoover, so I think it's pretty important. You don't need to have that one knee all the time ready to catch your Hoover in case of a fall, so you can actually relax when hoovering your stairs. You can go with your power up and down. There's actually 6 settings there. Believe it or not, I didn't have that in my previous Hoover. Obviously it's handy to have. You have also a little secret compartment here with all those small attachments. Again, with my previous Hoover I always had to do those runs up and down or those extra attachments because they were never around when I did need them. Plus I never knew actually where they are. Obviously I was always blaming my spouse for hiding them from me, so that's actually a pretty big problem solved here, and marriage saved in the same time. We still don't know that because, let's face it, she would rather that expensive fancy Hoover anyway. Don't mind it's crappy and overpriced. Power on off button. Button to rewind the cable when you're done. You don't need to hold it, you can just press it once and the cable will retract itself. I'm not sure yet if that's a good or bad feature. Leaning towards bad, at least as long as I have a 2-year-old child in the house. Cable is actually 8.5 meters long. Again, my previous Hoover had probably 5 or 6 meters, and that was not enough, and obviously it was a bit annoying because you had to keep replugging the Hoover a few times during cleaning, which was pain in the butt. Obviously it all depends on the size and shape of your house. For us, less than 8.5 meter is not enough apparently, and our house is not big at all, so appreciate that I didn't need to change plugs a few times when using this one. Here you actually press to open to change the back. Those bags are self-sealing, so there's really minimum mess here. Less than I was expecting with bag Hoover. By the way, you can't close it if there's no bag inside. Safety feature to avoid damaging the Hoover. There's extra bit here at the back, right here, so-called parking station. You can put your tube here when you take a break or if you finished. Or you can actually use it to carry additional brushes around, like this one. I didn't test it too many times yet, so I'm not sure if it's good or bad, handy or not. For sure it's good to have it, better to have it than not to have it, that's obvious. One thing that I kind of don't like about this vacuum cleaner, noting in the same time that I don't think that there's any better solution for it, is the fact that the air is blown upwards. So often it's right in your face when you come close to the Hoover. On the other hand, other Hoovers blow the air sideways, so it's annoying for other people around, also blowing the dust from floor all over the place, or also in your direction, sometimes also in face if you are close to it. I think we have all experienced that. Sometimes it's blowing stuff from the table. So when you think about it, they actually came up with a solution that was annoying me before, and it makes sense what they did here, because usually there's nothing or nobody above the Hoover. So even that I find annoying that this Hoover is blowing air upwards, I actually think it's a step forward when it comes to vacuum cleaner design. It's just a feature most Hoovers will always have. And as I said, it's a very smart solution actually, because it's not blowing at people sitting around, not blowing not picked yet floor dust all over the house, and will not blow anything from your table too. Inside you have also your air filter with indicator when you need to change it. There's obviously also indicator showing you when the bag is full. As far as I know, you need like 4 bags a year, and they are not expensive as well. I honestly prefer to pay extra a few euros for those Hoover bags than being covered in dirt and dust when emptying vacuum cleaner, like I was with my previous Hoover. Another great thing about this Hoover is that flexible tube pipe. It never bends in that funny way that the engine goes crazy and you need to untangle it, and then often you need to turn off the Hoover. What a relief. Again, when I was buying this Hoover, I didn't expect that this problem will disappear once and forever. Mind-blowing. But that's not all of making life easy features. Other thing that I thought is connected with Hoovers by default and forever was that constant struggle when you try to change those attachments and brushes. Since I remember me and my gentle hands, we have hated it. I thought that is just something that has to be this way. And surprise, here with this Hoover, it's mad easy. Zero hassle. To change them here, zero hassle. It requires zero energy to do it. It's pure pleasure. So basically I'll never need to ask my wife again for help with this. Again, my honor as a man and my marriage are saved thanks to this C3 Hoover. Just look how easy it is. The way the tube expands is also really easy. Really easy. And now brushes and attachments. So the main brush that you are getting with all models, I think, is this one. It's kind of a standard universal head. You switch here between carpet and hard floors. I think it's nothing outstanding, but it's not bad in the same time. We use it for our carpet and it's okay, it's okay. But I think a roller brush or brush like that, but longer, would be much better. Will I buy a separate carpet brush? I don't think so, because this is simply good enough. Second brush that you're actually getting, I think with only some of the models, is this one. This is for hard floors and it's very good. It works great, it maneuvers easily, and for sure it's much better for cleaning floors and lighter as well than this one. We have actually picked this Parquet model because there are high chances that shortly we will get rid of our carpets upstairs, so there will be floors all around the house. And I really confirm that there's big difference between this and that brush when it comes to floors. If there wouldn't be serious difference, I would recommend you to get cheaper model that comes only with this standard universal head and those little attachments. But there is a big difference actually. Of course, if you have no hard floors or tiles, you can go with the cheaper model, no problem. And now so this one I obviously use a lot, for example for cleaning skirtboards along the walls. This one I'll probably use to clean my car, and this one would be great for carpets if it would be a little bit longer, but I still use it. I use it to clean stairs. It's really nice and comfortable. So these were our little attachments there. And finally, what left in this review is the performance. The Hoover actually works how Hoover should work. And from what I've seen and tested recently, those fancy expensive Hoovers are not able to do a work of a regular Hoover. It looks like it's a big thing these days to buy a Hoover that will be actually able to Hoover. Before looking into those cableless vacuum cleaners, I didn't even realize a problem like that exists. By the way, I forgot to mention at the start that Dyson, for example, doesn't have a replaceable battery. So when battery dies, you need to stop hoovering, recharge the battery, and you can finish your hoovering later. And those batteries don't last too long as well. Actually, you have like 15-20 minutes of cleaning only. Which is pure madness. MIELE HX1 Pro comes with 2 batteries, which means more sense for me. So if you would buy cableless Hoover, I would buy MIELE. Again, you can find links in description below to both of them. So obviously there's a massive suction power in this Hoover, massive one. Most of the time you need to actually reduce the power. Is it loud? I think it is. I think it is loud. Again, when you reduce the power, it's okay. And I don't think anyone need to use it on full power. I probably do it because I had no option like that on my previous Hoover. And I probably think deep inside that on lower power setting, it's not cleaning as good. Obviously, I'm wrong. When you're actually doing a carpet with this Hoover, there is no way to use it on full power because the suction is just too strong. So that tells you a lot, I think. Have a look at those few takes showing how this Hoover performs. I have zero issues with it. It's hard to present how noisy it is, because obviously it all depends on the microphone I use, the distance from the Hoover, setting I would use for recording, then it would depend on the TV or mobile you use, how loud you have set it on, also if you're in a quiet or a loud room. So forget about that. It is loud, but it's acceptable loudness. I think my previous Hoover was quieter, but it was not that powerful in the same time. It didn't have that suction power like this one had, for sure. So highly possible they were actually same in terms of noise, because on lower settings this Hoover is also pretty quiet. And that's it. That was all what I had to say today. It's simply great Hoover. It's simply great Hoover. I have zero issues with it. I can recommend it for sure. It's basically only that air blowing upwards that annoys me, which might be actually a positive thing, as I was saying earlier. Also, probably if you have carpets only, you might think about buying that dedicated brush for carpets. I might actually do it as well if I will get it at the right price. I'll be honest with you, there are chances that we will get that fancy expensive Hoover in the end, for few reasons. We have little kid and constantly little mess on the floors because of that, especially downstairs in the living room where we have wooden floors and little carpet, and in the kitchen where we have tiles. So cableless Hoover would be much handier for us, because you just grab it and clean that little mess straight away. You just see taking out Hoover that has a cable as a lot of a hassle, and obviously we don't take it out and we just accept that little mess, or simply we use dustpan and brush for quick cleaning when it's getting too obvious to not to see it. What we have also noticed is that we don't really have heavy dirt around the house. So to be honest, a small container of portable Hoover should do fine for us, no problem. The battery, it should be enough for our little house. Plus we usually Hoover house in one go, because when you take out Hoover on the cable, you just don't want to take it out again later. You just want to have it all cleaning done in one go. It's different story with battery operated Hoover. You can do ground floor on one day, next day you can do stairs and lobbies, and on other day you can do the first floor. And going back to poor suction power of cableless Hoovers, as I said earlier, we don't really have much real dirt around the house, so I'm pretty sure weaker suction power will do just fine in our case. The biggest problem with those fancy expensive Hoovers is the price, obviously. It's simply not worth it, but there are other important factors too. Convenience, in our case, because we have small child making constantly little mess everywhere. Fashion, it's simply in fashion to have it. Wants, so basically what you want. Often what you want is not really what you need, so when your wife wants something and you see that she really wants it, you just know you need to buy it, and that's it. It doesn't matter what's better value. Forget about the reason. If that's what she wants, that's what she will get. And if your wife for some reason is not asking you about that fancy expensive Hoover, just buy this one and you'll be more than happy with it. You'll be more than happy with it. Thanks for watching this video. Links to Hoovers I was talking about you can find in description below. It will not cost you anything extra if you will use those links, but I might get some commission from the seller, which obviously will help me to run this channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video, of course, and make sure you will click this notification bell that will help you to see my videos in the future. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next one.